What's up, everyone? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Chopper channel. Today, we're talking some college football ahead of the Week 13 Tuesday Maction slate. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you've done that, thank you. It does help us a lot. Now, I'm going to get to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Right now, they have a deal where you can bet $5 in any game, and you are getting $150 in the form of bonus bets. That's literally a side, a total, whatever you want, and whether it wins or loses, you will get that $150. And there is a deal for you if you head to the Odd Chopper homepage. You'll hover over this Tails Marketplace, see this handy little Get Expert Picks free. Basically, what you're going to do is click this. You'll scroll down. You'll see Bet365 is right here. If you click this claim offer, you're getting that deal I just mentioned, plus one free month of a Tails Insiders package. That could be myself, Ben. There's a ton of experts on there for every sport you want. Once you click that claim offer, all you have to do is follow these steps, and then boom, you get one free month. Better yet, if you do this with multiple offers, you can get more than 1 month. So BetMGM, Bet365, that's 2 months. It's the best deal we've ever had, so make sure you take advantage of this before it is gone. Of course, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 18 or older to play in Kentucky, 21 or older in almost everywhere else. All right, let's go behind the glass. 3-game Maction slate kicked off by, I don't know what to call this game. It's like the opposite of the national championship. Every year, Kent State and Akron play each other. This year, Akron is about a 10-point favorite. That's kind of where it's landed on consensus. You could still find a 9.5. Little juiced if you'd like. The total in the game is 48.5. A little bit surprising, but I think that's about right considering the defenses on both sides. These are two of the bottom 5 defenses in the country. And the pace is about moderate here. Akron is 51st. Kent State is 76th. Let's get into injuries first. It's a little bit greasy anytime these teams are on the slate. Kent State, I think, is far more banged up. But starting with Akron, you have Shaman Cooper at linebacker, Damon Davis at safety, Justin Anderson at safety, Lama Lavea at defensive tackle, and Antavius Fish. He played limited snaps. I think that might just straight up be a benching. I'm not sure. Most of their main injuries on defense, this offense is actually pretty healthy. The only nuance to that group is they still rotate them a lot. They're a horrible offensive line, so that still makes some sense to me. On the Kent State side, my goodness, all right. Get your pen and paper out. The list is long. On offense, Devin Cargman at quarterback, J.D. Sherrod at quarterback, Gavin Garcia at running back, Cameron Golden at tackle. They're also rotating their offensive line a ton, so it is very difficult to tell if these players are injured or benched. No reporting on Kent State. It is what it is. On defense, Oliver Belade at defensive tackle, Jair Rollison at corner, Alex Branch, he's a nickelback, Rocco Nickel at linebacker, Naeem Muhammad at safety, Caden Betty, depth defensive linemen. We have a ton of injuries on both sides for this game, so perhaps that is another reason why the total is a little higher than I expected. Straight up, Akron has the better roster here. Can Kent State even hang in this game? I'm not really sure. They have only scored more than 7 points once in the last month. That was against Western Michigan, who has an awful defense. Put up 7 against Miami, Ohio, 0 against Ohio, and 6 against Bowling Green. Akron certainly has a bad defense. They're closer to the Western Michigans than any of those other defenses I just mentioned. Akron's actually 132nd. They don't have a single unit in the top 117. But I'm not sure Kent State can still score on this. The best part about Kent State, I guess, right now is that Tommy Ulikowski is back from injury. He played most of their last game. We did see cameo appearance from Rule Tomlinson, their freshman. Both these guys are awful, but at least Ulikowski, there is some good with the bad. With Tomlinson, there's just the bad. Ulikowski is 11 big-time throws, 11 turnover-worthy plays. They actually have a decent group of skill position players led by McCray at receiver. It's still a pretty bad unit overall, and the infrastructure here is just not good. They do not have a great offensive line. They're 119th in pass blocking. They're 133rd in run blocking. Kent State has struggled to score, and they just don't really defend. Akron has at least played like some competent football this year. Kent State really hasn't. Akron's played a fairly tough schedule, too. They just lost to Northern Illinois. That game was closer score-wise than the actual yards per play indicated. Northern Illinois, 29-16 over Akron. That should have been worse. They lost to Buffalo by 11. They lost to Eastern Michigan, or excuse me, they beat Eastern Michigan by 4, lost to Western by 10, lost to Bowling Green by 7. These are at least competent performances, which we haven't seen from Kent State all season long. When Akron's on offense, they're led by Ben Finley. He has a 56% completion, 13 big-time throws, 11 turnover-worthy plays. He doesn't run. Neither of these quarterbacks really give you anything on the ground. This is also one of the worst offensive lines in the conference, 131st in pass blocking, 134th in run blocking. Kent State surprisingly has the 82nd ranked pass rush. It's their only decent unit on defense. I still don't really think it matters after all those injuries. And Akron has a decent crop of skill position players too. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to play this game. This is just get your popcorn ready. It's the first start, I believe. Watch 30 minutes of this before you turn on the Western Michigan Central Michigan game, because this is probably going to be entertaining. It's just very hard to bet. I have these two teams power rated across the 134 in the country as 133 and 134. So this is a greaser. Western Michigan takes on Central Michigan. This game has a lot more interest to me. The road team, Broncos, 6.5-point favorites. That is a consensus. The total in this game comes in at 57. We've briefly hinted at the pitiful Western Michigan defense. More on that in a second. Pacing in this game is decent, not great. Western is 100th. Central is 79th. I think most of this stems from Western Michigan plays awesome offense, terrible defense, and Central is a little bit kind of just in the middle everywhere. Let's start with some injuries on the Western Michigan side. It's not really anything new. They haven't been with Bugs Mortimer in a while. Chris Tuttle, they're both sort of like depth pass catchers. On defense, Ontario Thompson at defensive tackle got hurt in their last game. Boone Bonema at linebacker is a depth piece who's been out. And Naquan Washington didn't even hit 50% of the snaps, or he barely hit that mark at corner. That's at least worth mentioning. Sometimes the best indication if a player's injured is just, did he play far fewer snaps than normal? And that was the case with Washington. Central Michigan has a ton of offensive injuries. None of them are particularly new. Tyson Davis, Stephen Bracey, Evan Boyd are all at receiver. Joe Labas and Bert Emanuel at quarterback. Jordan Williams at receiver. Varshawn Bailey at left tackle has been out a while. One new absence was Jari Turner Kinsler at corner. This was a new one. First and foremost, Western should be able to score the ball. They have one of the better offensive lines in the conference, 6th in pass blocking, 6th in run blocking. Hayden Wolf is pretty inept, but a lot of times they just game manage with him to success. And they have 3 competent running backs. Buckley and Nixon lead that group. They have their top 2 receivers, Sambucci and Womack, healthy. Central Michigan is 69th in total defense. They're 102nd in coverage. That's their worst unit. The best path to success is through the air for Western, but Central is 61st in run defense too. It's not like they're particularly strong up front. Their best unit is their pass rush, which should be neutralized by Western Michigan's offensive strength, that O-line. On the Central Michigan offense, I just don't think they have a quarterback at this point. Bert Emanuel is expected to miss again. They tentatively ruled him out for the season. That's the expectation. There's a slight possibility he suits up, but I doubt it. With him out and Labas out, that means we are getting some combination of Tyler Jefferson and Jaden Glazer. These guys are both horrific. So far this year, they've combined for 3 big-time throws. Those were all Jefferson, and 10 turnover-worthy plays. Glazer's played 1.5 games. Basically, he has 4 turnover-worthy plays, no big-time throws, a 62% completion, and he takes way more sacks than Jefferson. The problem with this team, outside of playing a 3rd and 4th string quarterback, is their infrastructure is really poor. 124th in pass blocking, 109th in run blocking. This team can't block. They can't block for Bailey or Lukes in the backfield. Their receivers are all hurt. This is a disaster of an offense. And it's not like Western's good on defense. They're 116th. They don't have a strong unit, but I think they might be able to stand up against the Central Michigan offense kind of by default. You look at what Western has allowed recently. It's not good. But they have played some of the better teams in this conference. Bowling Green scored 31. Northern Illinois scored 42. Kent State scored 21, which is alarming. Buffalo 41. Akron 24. Ball State 42. These are some of the worst teams, but I'm not sure Central Michigan's offense is close to most of them. They're sort of in like the Buffalo Kent State category if I had to rank them at this point on their 3rd string quarterback. I actually like Western in this game. I'm not sure there's an incentive to bet this right now. Perhaps this goes to 7. A lot of these 6.5s are juiced. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure where this line is going to move. Right now, the numbers currently indicate like taking a stale 6.5 might be your best approach. I'm going to hotly debate this with myself after the show, but I plan on having some position on Western. The final game is Northern Illinois taking on Miami, Ohio. This is a great game in this conference. 2 of the top teams, 2 teams contending for the title. The 2.5-point spread is a consensus. Miami, Ohio is the favorite. The total in this game is 41 points. Pacing doesn't project to be very good. Northern Illinois is 101st. Miami, Ohio is 121st. On the injury side, Northern Illinois will lie to you. I know there is a depth chart out. They release it every week. For reference, last week they listed Antario Brown as the starting running back after he went down with a gruesome knee injury. And guess what? He didn't play. Guess who's on the depth chart again? Antario Brown. I would not take anything that they release as gospel. As far as the injuries we know about definitively, Antario Brown, despite being on the depth chart, he's hurt. Evan Buss, their right tackle, missed their last game. They have a bunch of depth pass catchers out. The big one that was new was Dane Partridge. He played 3 snaps, and then we didn't see him the rest of the day. He's been their wide receiver 2 for a lot of the season, so that was an interesting one. That's about it, though. A couple offensive injuries. I think the most impactful ones are Antario Brown and Evan Buss. More on that later. On the Miami, Ohio side, Cade McDonald missed their last game, and Rayon Strader at corner missed. Those are the only 2 absences. Let's start with the Northern Illinois offense taking on the Miami, Ohio defense. They have a great offensive line, even without Buss. This is a deep unit. They are 10th in run blocking, 20th in pass blocking. You're facing a Miami, Ohio defense, which ranks 80th. Their strength is against the run, but it's 57th. That's compared to the 85th ranked pass rush and coverage unit for this Miami, Ohio defense. And you just kind of have a different level of run game with Northern Illinois. Hampton's involved in this at quarterback. But even without Antario Brown, Gavin Williams is an Iowa transfer. Their new running back, this Telly guy, yes, his first name is Telly. I don't know where they got him. I think he's a freshman. He's been awesome since he came on the field. And we've seen some real blips in the radar against opposing rushing attacks at times this season, especially against quarterbacks that can move. That's been one way opposing teams have got them. Like Tyler Jefferson had a pretty productive game against this Miami, Ohio defense. So Hampton, I think, could be able to run here himself. And this is the best offensive line in the conference. As far as the pass game goes, you really hope Northern Illinois doesn't have to lean on this a lot. I will say they played a stretch of the season without their number 1 receiver, Trayvon Rudolph. He's back now. Hampton is just a dicey signal caller, 5 big-time throws, 11 turnover-worthy plays. 5 of those have been converted to interceptions. You just don't like Northern Illinois if they're forced to play from behind or in clear pass situations. That's where they can kind of get into these volatile games. They're way better when they play from ahead. As for Miami, Ohio, this is a good team. We talked about their defense. Their numbers are a little bit diminished by a pretty difficult early season schedule that featured the likes of Northwestern, Cincinnati, and Notre Dame before they played UMass and got into the conference. But even in the conference, outside of the last couple games, it hasn't been the easiest sledding. Recently, they did beat up on Kent State, so a nice pseudo bye week. The Ball State game was closer than I thought, 27-21. Then they crushed Central Michigan, who already lost their quarterbacks, and they had a good win over Ohio, 30-20. Gabbert is a veteran signal caller. His completion percentage of 57% is kind of a far cry from where he's been. He has 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but 14 big-time throws and 13 turnover-worthy plays. He's living a little more dangerously than we've seen in previous seasons. And part of the problem is their offensive line is weirdly imbalanced. They're 109th in pass blocking and 16th in run blocking. Unfortunately, they still don't have a great run game. They haven't been able to find an efficient running back. 79th in total running back efficiency is not ideal. And then the receiving game's a little worse without McDonald, so we'll see if he can return. The problem is this Northern Illinois defense is 25th. This is the best MAC defense in the conference. They're awesome against the run and the pass. 21st in run defense, 21st in coverage. The only thing they don't do super well is rush the passer. But again, that might not be as big of a concern in this game because Miami, Ohio's pass blocking unit is atrocious. This is one I like. It's my favorite of the entire slate, and it is Northern Illinois taking on Miami, Ohio. That'll do it for us today. We'll be back with the second round of action doubleheader tomorrow. Until then, good luck, everyone. Oh, if I miss anything, please leave a comment. And if you'd like to, I'm on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. DMs are open. All right, now, until next time, good luck, everyone. We'll see you guys later.